What is going on, everybody? Hitmonchanting here back again with another Pokemon trading card game on my deck tech. Today we're taking a look at Turbo Iron Hands. I am having so much fun with this deck. It had a really strong showing at EUIC, getting 2 placements in the top 8 of the event, with so many more in day 2. And this deck just focuses around using Miraidon and its peak acceleration attack to do some damage, maybe take a knockout, and accelerate energies to our future Pokemon, in this case Lightning Energies, to Iron Hands EX, which we can also use the Electric Generator to power up quickly and easily, and then just, amp you very much. Turn after turn. That's like all this deck does. It's really, really strong and really, really cool. So we're just gonna give a little brief overview. My list is very similar to, I think, the 6th place list of EUIC. But basically, we're rocking, Miraidon, Iron Crown to boost this damage up. I'm sure you all kind of know at this point. As well as a Mew EX for some draw. And that's basically all the Pokemon. 2 Miraidon, 3 Iron Hands, 4 Iron Crown, and then 1 Mew EX, and there you're good to go. Now we have a bunch of counter catchers in this deck, so we can continuously boss up turn after turn while using supporters, as well as the Prime Catcher in this deck, so we can be aggressive with our gusting options, like do a Prime Catcher plus a Research when we are ahead to get even further ahead. And we keep all this energy into play with the Heavy Baton, so if our Iron Hands gets knocked out and the Heavy Baton is attached, we move 3 basic energy from it to our bench Pokemon in any way we like. And the big kind of differentiator from how this deck is built now in comparison to before, which I think is why I like it so much, is the Crisis Punch attack, or TM, which will let you do 280 damage if you have 1 prize remaining, which you will often find yourself at. And this will allow you to 1-hit KO Charizard EX, because you can actually use the boosting from Iron Crown EX with the Crisis Punch. So that's very important to note. And yeah, the only difference I think from my list in comparison to the 6th place list is I've taken out 1 Iron Hands for 1 Super Rod, because I think having a Super Rod in this deck is really important, and it will allow you to preserve some of your resources, shuffle more energy back in to use with Electric Generator, or shuffle back your 1 copy of Psychic Energy back in if you want to attack with Miraidon's Sparking Strike attack in, a couple different turns to force your opponent to go onto an awkward prize trade, so we can effectively use Counter Catcher. This deck is a ton of fun to play. I'm so excited to show off this list. Without any further ado, let's hop into some games, and we're gonna get some dubs with Turbo Iron Hands. Just wanted to give a quick thank you to the lovely sponsors of the Hitmonchanting channel. If you need codes, you know where to go. Head over to ptcglstore.com and use code Hitmon to get 5% off your order. And be sure to check out Pokemon.gg, the best Pokemon card tracker and deck builder there is. You can track your entire collection and see its value, build decks quickly and easily, create custom wish lists, and so much more. Join Pokemon.gg by clicking the link below and use code Hitmon to get $5 off a pro membership. These are some great products for some great prices. Thank you to my sponsors for supporting the channel, and thanks to you for supporting me too. And now let's get right back into the video. Our opponent has called the coin flipped. It is Tails, and Tails never did fail, so we're absolutely going to choose to go second here. Bunch of reasons for choosing to go second. 1, deny your opponent a good setup against decks like Charizard. 2, get a first turn attack and first turn energy acceleration. 3, you have hands like this would literally be an attach pass, but in this case, we actually have a little bit to work with going on because of our supporter. Now this looks to be Pidgeot something. Could be Pidgeot Control, which I think would suck, or it could be Pidgeot Charizard, which I think would rock. There's a Buddy PAF, which allures me to this being Charizard, and from here, yeah, they got the Charmander down, they got the Cleffa down. We'll see if they get another Buddy PAF off, in their hand here, hoping not. And we're just going to get to see what to do. They're putting Jirachi on the bench, which I find really interesting. They do have a second Buddy PAF in. I'm not sure the reasoning for the Jirachi going down there. Another Buddy's going to let them grab some more, Pokemon and such. They're getting double Charmander, double Pidgey, all that stuff. So I'm going to be a little bit cheeky here. A Fire Energy going to go into the Pidgey. Are they going to retreat probably into the Jirachi? Yeah. My proposition, I want to get this Cleffa out of here. That's my goal, and we just did it with this Arven. Now, I'm going to start by Techno Radaring away this Lightning. Techno Radar away the Lightning. We need to grab a Miraidon. We need to grab another Crown. We don't need another Crown right now. Let's get to put it into play. Do we have Prime Catcher? We do have Prime Catcher. You're cooked, my friend. You're absolutely cooked, chefed, fried, whatever you want to say. So we'll get the Miraidon. Actually, we'll get another Hands here, because we don't need a lot to get rid of this Cleffa. We'll go for an Arven. Arven will grab us the Prime Catcher, and will also grab us the Heavy Baton, because, yeah, we just need 60. Heavy Baton will give us a little bit of insurance in case this Hands gets boss KO'd. So we'll do this. Heavy Baton on you. Attach for turn on you. Prime Catcher, bringing the Cleffa up I feel like they're relying on it. They got a 3-card hand. Then we will peak accelerate for 60 damage and accelerate 2 energies onto our benched Iron Hands. And now this is pretty good. And I'm pretty happy with this because you can kind of tell the play they were making. They were like, I get the Cleffa, I'll get Jirachi. I want you to KO this Jirachi. And then what I want you to do is let me Cleffa for 6 cards. I wouldn't be surprised if they add the Jirachi back into that active slot, and we'll see what they do here. They could sacrifice a Pidgey as well, trying to go for a Call for Family, maybe getting that Rotom into play. They could just leave the Charmander, being like, okay, you can KO this Charmander, but then what are you gonna do? Then at this point in time, my preference is gonna be, I wanna amp this Charmander for 3. Now they have the Artisan, which could literally just grant them Rare Candy, and they could have Charizard in hand, or they could have Rare Candy, Charizard in hand, and then they could grab themselves a Counter Catcher, bring up this Iron Hands on the bench. But they're getting a Choice Belt, they're getting an Ultra Ball, so they're getting rid of some stuff, and I could see them probably just grabbing a Pidgeot here, even, just so they can get a little bit more set up. We've used the Counter Catcher, so we've, the Prime Catcher, we've exhausted our big resource, so yeah, it's going to be a little interesting to see what they go for. They could go for the Charizard. That'll put them on odd pricing. And then basically all that we want to do is see if we can find bosses to boss an amp, or we just smack into this Charizard twice with an Iron Hands and hope they don't KO it in time. But here comes the Charizard play. So definitely going for the Ultra Ball Rare Candy Charizard. Now they have the single card in deck or in hand. Not too sure what that is. And I still think we made the right play. Because if you think about it, they have 2 Charmanders on the bench. If we went to KO a Charmander, they would have played Cleffa anyway. So I think forcing them to go into this play here is pretty good for us. Burning Darkness on the Miraidon puts us on odd pricing, so I'm not super mad about, what's it called? Like I said, I'm not super mad about just getting that Cleffa out of here. They're going to need to KO this Iron Hands. We're going to be in for a good time and a long time, or I shouldn't say a long time throughout this game. So we're gonna go for the Arm Press here. We have enough to KO. I don't think an Arven is super necessary. I think a Research is just better. Seeing more cards is gonna help us out a little bit more. Future Booster Capsules everywhere is not my favorite thing, but I'm thinking I'll throw one on this crown as a pivot. Right now, we just need Arm Press to put in the work. And I think that's all I want to do, to be honest. I don't need to put this other crown down, 200. Well, maybe no. Maybe I'll put the crown down so I can potentially amp this Charizard. So we'll Arm Press, 200 big ones. And yeah, if they KO this Iron Hands here, for a 3-card hand, they need Max Belt plus a Lost Vacuum. So that needs to be the perfect card combination that they're working with right now in order to actually do anything about this hands. They have the Rare Candy plus the second Charizard, so maybe they're going to go for a retreat play, smack into this hands again, but by that time, we're going to try and power up the second hands here, and then that's hopefully going to be able to carry us through the rest of the game here. Not sure if I would have gone for that play completely, but they have the Burning Darkness. They're hitting us pretty hard, and we got to start getting this other hands powered up at this point. Nest Ball is going to be a little bit crucial for us. We can get Mew into play. I'll definitely put this future booster here. Again, I don't want to amp, because if I amp and then they return KO, we're never going to have the opportunity to Prime Catcher. Something else that I think is worth doing is going for the Super Rod play right now. Super Rod can get us all 3 of these crucial cards back into the deck. And the Nest Ball, I'm going to want to just grab Mew, give us a little bit of draw protection here. I'll attach this onto the hands. Future Booster can go onto the Mew. I don't think it'll really be relevant. And yeah, we're going to basically need to find ourselves some other cards here. Radar and Generator is really, really good because we can generate here, grab 2 Lightnings, and both of those Lightnings are going to go onto his hands. So even if this baton gets vacuumed, we're going to be in a pretty solid spot. And now I'm going to Arm Press for 200. Now we've activated their Counter Catcher if they still play it. And the kind of key here is if we need to go through this Zard, we don't want to go through it just yet. We get Miraidon, which is solid. Ideally, we're going to go for our own boss play on a Pidgey or something like that. They did have the Lost Vacuum. See, they literally had the Lost Vacuum, so getting that Generator was really clutch because now this isn't going to do much for them. They're going to get 2 prizes, go down to a 2-card hand. Now, this is going to be a bit of a challenge, right? They need 2 KOs to win. We need 2 KOs to win. We'll lead with Mew here. And something we can do is we can also just genome hacking this Charizard in the later part of the game. I don't want to give them Town Store necessarily. I could throw this Miraidon here. Again, I don't want to give him any extra cards to work with. It might just be an Iron Hands angle, because but then if they KO it, Well, you know, they don't have any other attackers. This matchup's always tough, but I'm thinking... This I need to think about a little bit more. We can definitely Techno Radar. Gets rid of something. Get rid of the Counter Catcher maybe is the best call. Get rid of that. That can get us, like, just a hands. We can put that into play. We should have, like, the other baton in here, which is what I'm a little bit worried about not finding. Well, we have, we have this, but I don't want to... Actually, you know what? Okay, I'm actually kind of happy with this play. We have a Future Booster. We have a Heavy Baton in play still, or in the deck. What we can do is we can grab ourselves this Crown, and just the Crown. This is will let our Amp do enough to KO Rotom, because it'll do 120, 140, 160, 180. Then we can hit it for 200 with one more Crown once something else gets knocked out. Put the Miraidon down, put the Town Store down. Bit of a risky play, but I definitely want to get the Baton going here so we can then power up this Miraidon and Crisis Punch if we need it. So we'll definitely put that in play. We'll Mew, draw 2. Hopefully, we got the energy. We didn't get like a boss or anything, but I'm definitely going to attach this to the Miraidon here. They can KO this Miraidon, and that will allow them to go into odds once more, or go into evens once more. And then if they just put down a Radiant Charizard, we lose. So I'd like to get an Amp play, but alternatively, what I think the best play is, because Miraidon's doing 40, 60, 80, 100, Amp is going to be doing 120, 140, 160, 180. We're a little bit off. Man, I can't go for like a peak acceleration plus a swing with Amp. So maybe the right play is we got to attach this here so I don't lose the turn. And I'm debating what to attack with at this point. I could power the Miraidon up once again. They still need 2 knockouts to win. Maybe the hands is just a better call. But no, we still require them to have so much. Could I own them to 1 in the following turn? If I could hit with the hands. Now, I don't want to give them... Okay, this is what I want to do. I want peak acceleration for 100. And I'll put these energies onto this Miraidon. If they go knock out the hands, we genome hacking. If they knock out the Miraidon, we can arm press them, plus Iono them to 2. They shouldn't just have Rare Candy Pidgeot because they've used 2 rare candies already. I think it's very unlikely they have that in this hand. So if they don't get another attacker down this turn, they're screwed. They do have the Rotom, which is what I was afraid of, but they just had the Force Heal in hand, so like it's not the biggest deal in the world. They are likely going to hit us with a Roxanne at this point, and the Roxanne's probably going to carry them into the victory of this game here, which is a little bit like what I'm kind of concerned about. Like I said, I don't want them to just drop a Radiant Charizard, and then that's going to screw us up here. So like that Radiant Charizard is always an issue when you kind of come down to clutch situations like these. So we'll see what they decide to grab here. It's very crucial. They could try and grab something like the, you know, like the Buddy Buddy to set up more, or maybe an Arven for a future turn to set up a Pidgeot. It's very interesting to see what they do, but if they hit us with the Roxanne, hit us with the KO, which is kind of what I'm feeling in the brain over here, they're gonna just go for the Iono. They don't even have Roxanne. That's fine with me. I'd like to just find my Iono again, and boom, go for it right there. We get Research to bounce back. We also get Counter Catcher to help us respawn from this as well, but this Charizard in play is gonna be really, really challenging to defeat. We're only down 1 Iono. 1's at the bottom, though. We can shuffle it with Town Store. They just have Rare Candy Pidgeot off. Are you kidding me? Are you actually kidding me? They have Rare Candy Pidgeot off 3 cards with 2 rare candies used? That just doesn't happen. Then if they get a Radiant Zard here, we are cooked. I'm hoping they don't get a Radiant Zard here. We're just cooked if they do. Yeah, we're so cooked. Oh my gosh. I'm so upset. However, okay. We get 2. We can definitely KO this Zard. The thing is, they need a Super Rod to hit with this Radiant Charizard. So we can search with this Town Store. Will it let us amp here? If we do plus 80, we can't amp. I'm so upset that we put this Heavy Baton on, but I didn't know what the play was. Or we Counter Catcher amp the Pidgeot. Okay, we have the line for sure. Just Counter Catcher amp that Pidgeot and we win, right? So we get the Future Booster. We literally just thin everything out. 5 energy. We just go for a huge research for sure, right? Like we drop the crown, attach the booster, bring up the Pidgeot with the Counter Catcher. Yeah, that's definitely the play. Never mind. Nothing to be mad about it anymore. Then we go for a restart for 1. Iono? No. Research. Get me that energy, Bobby. Get the energy. Huge dub. So now we can go down and amp this Pidgeot. Goodbye. Nice 400 damage, little 3 prize action here. Get this Pidgeot out of here, and we're good to take the dub here. Came down very close, even though they had a rough start. Like I said, this is your worst matchup. I think we played this match really well. The over-reliance on the Cleffa and very clearly telegraphing what they were going to do let us take advantage of the situation enough to kind of steamroll through the rest of their deck. They had to put the Pidgeot into play, to put the Charizard into play, but that meant they needed to go on to odd prizing. Then we took the dub against this Charizard. Our opponent is calling the coin flip. They chose heads, so tails naturally never fails. It's going to be heads, though. They're going to choose whether to go first or second with their deck. They got a Charizard coin, could be up against Charizard, which is notoriously one of this deck's worst matchups. I had a feeling we'd be going first if we lost that flip, which is okay. As long as we get some Pokemon and some energy down, we will be completely fine. I'm happy we don't have this hand, to be completely honest with you right now. We're going to just draw some more cards. Not too shabby. I'm not really, upset about this. I'm fine to lead with his Iron Hands right here. I don't want to put the Mew into play in case I don't need to. It is our turn, so we'll probably just go for an attach pass on this Iron Hands. I think that's fine. I don't necessarily want to put the Future Booster on it because we maybe are going to choose to go for a Prime Catcher, and you want your Heavy Batons here. But they're going to start with a Lumineon, which is pretty good for us. Having that on the board, being able to easily amp it for 3 prizes is really strong. They're getting an Arven, which hints to me that they are going to be grabbing themselves a Buddy Poffin for Seal Stone, or Defiance Band is interesting. And then they're going to build out their board. I'm betting money this is Charizard. Let's see if I'm right. It is Charizard. So hopefully this coming turn, our plan is going to be to Prime Catcher this Charmander and just knock it out with our Miraidon, setting up our Iron Hands. They only got 1 in play, and that is the key here. Got another Lightning Energy. And now I think I'll still attach this Future Booster at this point, and it might be the best to just go for an Iono here. I just want to kind of cover all my bases, still take a KO if I can, put the Defiance Band to the bottom, and see, just like that, now we're able to actually get ourselves a KO on this Manaphy. We're going to have to sacrifice a little bit of resources here, but we'll definitely grab this Miraidon. We'll definitely grab an Iron Crown. We use our second Techno Radar to get another Iron Hands and another Iron Crown, which means getting rid of one of our Heavy Baton, right? Because we're only doing 60. We want to get this Manaphy out of here, get the Iron Hands, get the Iron Crown. We prize 2 crowns, which can be a bit of a concern, but I'm thinking right now, all we're going to want to do, retreat, go into the Miraidon. I don't want to put the Heavy Baton down just yet. There's really no point. I want to start powering up our second hands. I mean, think about it. They didn't get a 4 Seal Stone in play. They have 1 Charmander, 1 Pidgey in play. I want to start powering some stuff up. The Generator's really good as well to help us get some more energy into play. And right now, they're actually not able to knock out this Iron Hands unless they have a crazy hand with like Rare Candy Charizard, Counter Catcher, and a, what's it called? Maximum Belt. So that's the only way they'll be able to knock this hands out, or another belt card. But they've got the Lumineon and the Rotom down. So 2 easy targets for us. We have the thing in the deck. What's it called? Crisis Punch is in the deck. Thankfully, we get to KO this Charmander once again. And I'm thinking right now, I want to use Arven. And Arven's literally just going to grab me Nest Ball, and it could grab me Prime Catcher. But I don't necessarily want to do that. I think I want to grab Nest Ball and Future Booster. The reason for this is I want to go for the Nest Ball, get Mew, just so we have a little bit of draw protection here. And then I'll attach the Future Booster to Miraidon. I'll go for the Electric Generator here. It's going to whiff, which means we're not going to be able to go for an amp play this turn. If we hit that, we could have gone to Amp Lumineon for 3, then we just Crisis Punch Charizard after. I'm debating right now, though, if we just take out this Charmander. Oh, you know what? Okay, we'll throw this Heavy Baton over here. Let's go for a restart first before I make any rash decisions here. We do get another energy, we get a research, so we're not going to be able to do anything like that. I could amp this Charizard, but then we don't have like any energy in play, and I'm not a huge fan of that. So I think I want to actually attach this to the Iron Hands on the bench, peak acceleration one more time. Because they have both Lumineon and Rotom in play, and they've kind of filled their bench, I think that my preferred option here is I could also get a Psychic and put it on that Miraidon. Maybe I'll do that. It's tough. But yeah, okay, I think that's what I want to do. So we'll do this. So my reasoning behind this right now, this is doing 160, 180, 200, it's doing 220 damage right now if we are going to use Sparking Strike, and that's going to be enough to KO Rotom or Lumineon if they try and go for a KO on one of our Iron Hands on the bench, and they'll probably try and go for a 2-2-2 prize map here. So our goal with this Miraidon and with this Psychic Energy is going to be to just put as much pressure on them as we can with our little baby Miraidon. They've put Pidgeot into play, which means we just need to take 2 knockouts to win here. They still need to take 3. So as long as we don't miss a beat, we're going to be doing okay against them over here. I'm fully expecting, again, a Charizard counter catcher, crazy play coming out. We have Research, we have Iono, so we have some ways to get around this. Here comes the Charizard, which is going to be a little bit of a challenge for us. And now I really like the way our energy is set up on the board, because we have double on Miraidon, so it can attack. If they KO the hands with the Heavy Baton, it's going to be able to move those energies onto the benched hands. If they KO, let's see what they get. If they get the benched hands KO, that's fine because our Heavy Baton still stays in play, so the last hands we use will be able to save those energies. You know, in addition to this, if we get an Electric Generator, I'm very confident we can get this Iron Hands powered up and ready to go. So here comes the Burning Darkness 240. Again, that's enough to knock out the hands, which is a little bit unfortunate, but that's okay. And so right now, I gotta weigh my options, kind of what do I want to do here. I could aim to just knock out the Pidgeot or something like that. Again, I could go for an Iono, but to be completely honest with you here, a big hand isn't really doing too much for them right now. Or if I give them a small hand, nothing's doing too much for them anyways. I could hit with the Miraidon, because what that will let me do is that will just let me force them to either knock out this hands and then trigger the Heavy Baton, or, you know, knock out the Miraidon, and that puts us down to the Crisis Punch range. So I gotta kind of make a commitment here. I don't want to necessarily put this hands up. I'll attach the Miraidon for now and just go for a research. I want to get the last hands into play, which we are going to be able to successfully get here thanks to our Techno Radar. We have the last hands. We can get this Miraidon. I don't really see a reason not to thin it out of the deck. We'll put the hands into play. Yeah, and I don't even want to peak acceleration because we're not going to be able to knock this Charizard out in return. We're down 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 energy with 14 in the deck. I think I might save these generators, to be completely honest with you. Alternatively, we could get Iono here, but we don't have a whole lot of energy to work with, so I think just a Sparking Strike is going to make me happy. Because now we're forcing them into a different position. They don't have another Charmander down to retreat to, so things are going to be a little bit tough, I think, for them. Alternatively, something they could do this turn is use a Professor's Turo, but because they didn't put a Charmander into play last turn to re-evolve up, the only point in doing that is delaying the inevitable demise. And here we grabbed Arven, which is going to be really strong and letting us get a Prime Catcher, and we can Prime Catcher up the Lumineon, or even better, the Pidgeot EX, hit him with that, and then hopefully they're not going to be able to do too much. Here comes the Quick Search, which I'm expecting is just going to be a boss on our Iron Hands on the bench, and then that's going to allow them to set up the, or what's it called, to finish setting up here. Here's the Iron Hands, or sorry, I should say take the bigger threats off the board, but if they don't get the Lost Vacuum play in combination with this, we're going to be able to preserve these 2 energy. No Lost Vacuum means Burning Darkness is going to come through, and just we can pile these onto the Iron Hands. And now what I'm aiming to do here is leave all of these liabilities on the bench. I want to Iono them to 2 and then hit them really hard with this Iron Hands, or sorry, with this Miraidon. Leave a single prizer in the active still. They're not going to be able to use Counter Catcher, which is really important. So that's kind of the play. I think you're going to like the play. Another Lightning Energy is not what we want. But we want a generator here, which hits 1, and that's honestly all we need. Because now we can put this energy over here and save the amp for a rainy day. It's definitely going to be an Iono play here. We could bench this Miraidon just so we have a target to attach things to at some point. But we might want to get another crown in play. So I'll forego that. And I'll just go for the Iono play here. So we're going to Iono them. Knock out this Charizard. And here's a Super Rod, which is not half bad here. We can put more energy in, but it's not like we need it. Could prepare another hands. Again, not like we need it. We could counter catcher, go for an amp on the Pidgeot, but then we just lose to the Charizard, right? So the best play here, I think, is to just go for the Sparking Strike. Again, no need to play the Super Rod. No need to shuffle the deck right now. Let's literally just Sparking Strike for 220, knock out this Charizard, and now they literally need to get a boss KO Charmander in play, and it needs to be boss or Prime Catcher. It can't be a counter catcher, nothing like that. They literally need to do Rare Candy, Charizard, boss. They need 3 of those. They have 3 cards in hand and a Quick Search to use. Now, could be scary if they found an Ultra Ball off the top. They can Ultra Ball, get the barrel in play, but they're going for a Quick Search, and I feel like they'll probably get the Quick Search to find that Ultra Ball, put the Ultra Ball in play, and get that barrel, and then that barrel will draw them cards, and they're going to kind of just pray that they find what they need. We got to keep in mind, like I said, they're down 2 boss. Now, if they play the Prime Catcher, that's good for them because they can easily use that. There's a Roxanne, which is an interesting choice here. Another good reason to have Mew on the bench. We get Generator, we get Research, so we're completely fine. But, you know, it's very possible off this Roxanne, they do get Rare Candy Charizard, but they're going to need a Prime Catcher specifically, no boss to be found. They have a really big deck still, 31 cards, 37 if you count the hand they just drew. So it's going to be tough for them, I think, to pile together a win here. Like I said, you can KO this Miraidon, then this Iron Hands is going to come up, and it's going to eat you alive. Or you can, you know, try and be like, okay, I don't want to trigger Counter Catcher, I'm going to pass, then I just got to shuffle through the deck, draw into Prime Catcher, and we'll be good as gold over here. So here comes the Ultra Ball, which is probably going to net them that big barrel, and that big barrel is going to be a miracle draw. Getting rid of the Fire Energy in the Turo. Something else to be conscious of is, do you have enough Fire Energy to attack in this deck? You know, they're going to need to get, most Charizards are only playing 6 Fire Energy, so they got to make sure they have at least 2 in the deck to attack. They could have prized 2 Fire Energy still, we don't know that. And they're going for another Ultra Ball. They got a really solid hand going here. Radiant Charizard's interesting. They can go for, put the Radiant Charizard down, and they're going to barrel here. Something they could do is like a Prime Catcher plus Fire is going to be a pain in our Iron Hands, but I don't know how likely they are to get there. I'm really hoping it's not that likely, to be honest. It looks like they are, you know, after looking through this, they are playing towards list, which is a little more jank. You have 2 Turos, you have a Palpad, you have a lot of those options, and I don't remember. He did play the Prime Catcher, which I'm a little bit scared about. Getting the Iron Crown in play. I'm a little terrified here. And I'm not sure if they thought this one through, because this means they're going to need to bring something else up to retreat it. They're putting the Rotom, so they're definitely stalling here. And they're going to instant charge. Now, this is literally what the game comes down to. We got to find one of our future booster energies to win. Find the generator. We are down 1 future booster, 2 future boosters. So I'm going to generator here, literally just trying to thin whatever is in the deck, whatever is in my hand. And go for a restart here. We're eerily close to the W. Techno Radars gets us Miraidon. Miraidon's going to be Miraidon. And we're going to put another crown in play. Now, how many outs do we have to victory? We have 1, 2, 3, 4 outs to a win here. 4 outs out of 17 cards. Hopefully we get there. Fingers crossed, everybody. We do get there. And this is going to let us put the future booster energy capsule on our Iron Crown. We can retreat it into our good pal Miraidon, and Miraidon's going to bring us home with a Sparking Strike, the MVP of this game, to be completely honest. It put in so much work, and I'm going to take the final prizes, and I'm going to talk a little bit about why this Miraidon is so good. Like I just mentioned, if your opponent, they don't want to deal with it, that's completely fine. I'm literally going to hit you for over 200 damage with a single prize Pokemon, and I'm going to put you in a position where you have to deal with this. You have to activate my Counter Catcher, you have to activate my Crisis Punch, or else this Miraidon will just eat your board, and that, I think, is what this deck is really good at doing, taking down the insanely strong Charizard EX. we get to call this coin flip, and tails never fails, as I always say. It's going to be heads though, so tails has forsaken me today, and that's fine. We're going to see what our opponent chooses to do, if they go first or second. That's going to kind of give us a bit of a telling into what they're playing potentially. I'm in Arceus rank right now, so usually what we see, or what I see I should say, is Charizard, Control, and like ever so slightly a future deck. That's kind of what there is up here. Lots of Charizard and Control, maybe more Control than Charizard, but we'll see what we're working with. We have to mulligan to reveal our hand. Our opponent's going to have to set up first. They're going to decide to go first, which will give us a little bit of insight here. We got to start with the crown, unfortunately, but the rest of our hand is actually half decent. So we'll see what we can do about this situation. They are going to draw their mulligan, and they're going to end up flipping that over. It's a Radiant Charizard. This could be Control, or this could be actual Charizard. One of the two. There's a Pidgey, which doesn't tell me a whole lot. There's a Nest Ball, which doesn't tell me a whole lot. There's a Charmander, so it is Charizard. We've just played Charizard today, to be honest. They might have a hard time removing this Radiant Charizard from play. And now, what we can do, hopefully, if the cards treat us right, never mind, they got the Buddy popping down. It's going to say, if not, yeah, they're just going, like, all in on the Charizards here. And an Ultra Ball, too, which is really fascinating. Could get the Cleffa. They could be getting that Cleffa. Then I know what my target is if they get the Cleffa. No, but it's going to be the Rotom. Again, they got rid of their Collapsed. They put the Rotom in play. We have a lot of options of things that we want to KO here. The Radiant Zard hitting that could be good as well. So we'll start off with a Nest Ball. Nest Ball, I wanted to grab Iron Hands. We have a lot to work with. I just want to hit a generator here. That's like my main goal. We don't have too much to worry about prizing, except for the Prime Catcher. That's a pretty big prize. That's the only one you usually got to worry about in here. We also prize a Counter Catcher, and I think, and Arven, and that's basically it. The rest of our key pieces are in the deck. So, okay, we'll get this Iron Hands. We're going to need to rely on, not this Counter Catcher, or sorry, not our Prime Catcher. Start with this Generator, which is going to hit 2, very thankfully. Throw that onto the Iron Hands. Now I kind of think just Research is better. I could knock out this Radiant Zard here. I don't want to give them the huge Charizard combo. I want to just put that single prizer in the active, so we will just do this. We get, our good plays keep on going. We can get a Miraidon here. Get a second Iron Hands. This is kind of your dream setup. Like I said, this is usually what you want to be hitting. Go for the Miraidon. Put the hands on the bench. Future Booster on the crown. We attach to the Dawn. Now, something that we can do. Put the Heavy Baton on this hands on the bench. They're not going to... I don't even know if I want to do that, because it's still possible for them to KO if they do, like, Rare Candy, Charizard, Max Spell, Boss. It's 100% possible, so I don't necessarily want to risk it. So I'll put that there, and we'll just Peak Acceleration for 80 to hitting this Radiant Charizard. Then we can put a Psychic and a Lightning into play. We have a Lightning in hand, so the Lightning goes here, and the Psychic goes on this Miraidon. Now, Miraidon, once again, as I've done in the previous games, it's a threat. You need to deal with this Miraidon, or else I will chew through your board. I know, like, lots of Charizard decks are really wonky, because they're playing, like, Control Zard, which is kind of what Tord was playing with the, oh, we're just going to Instant Charge? Okay. All right. Please, Iono off the top? No? Okay. Now, the Instant Charge is a little bit concerning here. So I think the best play is we just set our board up a little bit more. We'll start with an Arven, do the Nest Ball, and even a Future Booster doesn't sound half bad. We don't have the other Heavy Baton to work with. I think that's just kind of fine. Nest Ball is going to grab Mew, which is going to help us draw through the rest of this mess here. So I'll throw the Nest Ball, get the Mew down. This is, again, pretty okay. Throw this on Miraidon just to buff its damage, and I'll attach to the hands just to thin our hand, and we'll restart for 2 more cards, being a Boss and a Techno Radar. Boss is going to be really strong. Peak Acceleration even stronger right now, though, so we'll just hit them with that. Get rid of this Radiant Zard. Put 2 energy on his hands on the bench. Now, I can 100% see them going, like, Counter Catcher KO, this Charizard, or this Iron Hands, and then that's almost feeding right into our trap if you do that, because now Counter Catcher's online, and we can start Counter Catchering things and amping them for huge, huge money, because I think all we're really going to want to do is we can either Boss Rotom, KO it with hands, or we Counter Catch a Pidgeot, KO it with hands. There's the Pidgeot, which they kind of need to put into play, and then our hands is going to be it's going to be an easy target from our hands. They have a rare candy Charizard literally just on their board already. Now they have 7 extra cards to work with in their hand. You know, they can quick search for rare candy, 4 Seal Stone for Charizard, bing bang boom, Bob's your uncle, and then their full board is set up, which is kind of what I'm not really happy about, especially if they get that Charmeleon into play. It's going to make disruption really difficult for us. So here, our goal at least is to just not get like extremely destroyed. There's the rare candy, there's the Charizard. They're going to start with their whole thing. They have the 4 Seal Stones still in their, like, at their disposal. I have a feeling a counter catcher play will come. I really do. I think that a counter catcher will rear its ugly head, combined with a Heavy Baton. I can see that definitely happening. And, or sorry, a Lost Vacuum to get rid of the Heavy Baton. And then I think we'll be okay. You know why we'll be okay? Because we got double peak acceleration and we didn't get ahead of ourselves and try and outrace Charizard. You make up for those lost prizes at the end of the game. Something a little bit scary though is if they're playing the Turo, they will Turo up their Pidgeot or Turo up the Rotom. But because they had to put both into play this turn, or sorry, at this point, shouldn't be too worried about it. Alternatively, like basically what we need to do for this game is either boss twice or attack 3 times to win. We take a 3 prize unlock, or even attack 2 times. One of them requires a boss though. 4 Seal Stone can just nab them that Turo, which could be bad though if we just boss amp the Pidgeot, right? So we'll see what they do. There's an Arven. Arven's gonna nab them, definitely the counter catcher plus the Defiance Band. Oh, no counter catcher. Just a, okay, that's interesting. Second rare candy Charizard, so they're fully prepped and ready to go. Thankfully, their bench is full of liabilities, so I don't really care that much. And if they don't go down to odd prizing, Miraidon just loves that so much because it just eats the whole board apart. They're going to power up that second Charizard. I'm wondering what they got going on here. There is a Defiance Band. Do you have the counter catcher in hand? You do have the counter catcher. Now, do you have the Lost Vacuum as the last 2 cards? No. Okay, that's fine. I'm actually completely okay with that. I'm going to put 1 here and 2 on Mew. Mew's going to be good because Mew can just use Crisis Punch later on. Actually, I messed up. Those energies need to go on an Iron Crown because the damage needs to be boosted. Good to remember. I kind of forgot about that. We'll lead with Mew here. At least Genome Hacking can KO the Charizard anyway, so like it's fine. Speaking of the Devil, we do get the Crisis Punch here. Now, I'm thinking we'll definitely go for the Techno Radar. We'll need to thin the hand down, but I want to boss amp the Pidgeot, or I want to try and play for a counter catcher here. So I'll get rid of Crisis Punch. Actually, never mind. I'm like messing up for some reason. We'll get a crown, and we just want to put a crown down. And I'll attach. I wanted to get rid of an energy and attach the Crisis Punch, but I guess not. Attach this to the Miraidon. Mew for 1. Hopefully Arven can come in clutch here. Future Booster is not quite what I want. Now I have to change my game plan a little bit. Again, they have Pidgeot. I think I still want to amp the Pidgeot though, and then I just need, like if I amp the Pidgeot, I take 3 prizes. They go down to 2. Yeah, they're left without a Pidgeot and play no 4 Seal Stone. I think that's still a good plan. Messed up a little bit, but that's okay. We'll boss up your Pidgeot, sir, and we're going to amp that very much and take 3 prizes here. Now, yeah, we just need to find boss to win and or Prime Catcher off the prizes, which is decently likely that we get. We did get the Prime Catcher, so we do have the guaranteed like win on board right now. They can KO this Iron Hands, and then we just use Miraidon and its awesomeness to kill the Rotom. Unless they just go for a, what's it called? They just Turo the Rotom up, then we're in a bit of a trouble. They could Iono us here, but Arven will just get us the Prime Catcher if we draw into it. Lost Vacuum, I actually don't care about too much right now. You can get rid of your Future Booster, however much you want, to be completely honest. And yeah, like this is fine. You wanted that Lost Vacuum last turn, sir. But yeah, get rid of that Future Booster. You recognize the threat of Miraidon. However, this actually would have opened up our Crisis Shot potential. There's an Iono, which is a little bit deadly. Thankfully, we have Mew on board to protect us from it. And we just get the research off the top anyway, so we're going to be able to draw a little bit more, but we are not going to find a guaranteed way to get that Prime Catcher. And yeah, as of now, we don't have a way to get the Prime Catcher, so because, you know, it's at the bottom of the deck. We need a way to shuffle things up right now. They've taken about 2 prize KO. We'll lead with Mew. And yeah, we really got to get things sorted out ASAP. Lightning Energy is not what I want to see, but we can attach that. Draw with Mew. Draw a single card. That's going to be a future booster, which is fine. We can throw this on the crown here. We got to research, and research isn't going to guarantee us anything. This is a really bad for us, like extremely bad. Something we can, like we can't really do anything. We can Iono, get rid of an Iono. We can get another crown and crown, or we can just get hands, set up another hands. Maybe that's the play. We have 2 energies in deck though. Like we can't even fully set up the hands because right now Miraidon's doing 40. We're just doing 100. Crown will let it do 120. If we get the crown, then Genome Hacking can finish it off. Or maybe we get another Miraidon in case they play like Iron Bundle. That's the thing about not knowing your opponent's deck. I don't know. We definitely want to thin. Our options are these 2. No, these 2 is better. These 2 is better. And I think we put the hands into play and start powering that up. I think that's my choice because then we can just arm press for the win. They don't have a boss here. They need to have the boss specifically. We can, yeah, we'll go into the good old Dawn. We'll use Generator to get nothing as we usually do. Yeah, then we can go for 100. Then Sparking Strike for 220 might be the motive after. We haven't discarded any future booster energy capsules. One's lost zoned. Then we have the other crown if they KO. Yeah, it's a peak acceleration, I think, at this point. Or it's a Sparking Strike. Then if they kill the Miraidon, we just win with Mew. Maybe it's a Sparking Strike angle. For sure. Right? Yeah, it's definitely a Sparking Strike angle. Okay. Good that I remembered that. We do that. If they have boss, they have boss. Really unfortunate that we got the Prime Catcher to the bottom of our deck there, and we had no way to shuffle it. Like we couldn't even find a generator to shuffle the deck, then research into it. But they're retreating going into this Charizard here. So if they knock out this Miraidon, we're cooked. Or no, they're cooked because they're going down to 1 prize. Mew says hello and would like to genome hacking you. So then that I'm not worried about. If they play the Hero's Cape, things get a little bit more tricky for sure. Because then we just need to find a way, we gotta boss the other Charizard. So that's a little bit tricky. But here, we might be okay. They're gonna Iono us once more. So they could find like a Prime Catcher angle. That's also possible. We find our Prime Catcher, so if they don't got it, we got it. And it's an instant charge. So that just means we win the game here, because literally all we need to do is get our Prime Catcher, bring up that Charizard on the bench. And what do I keep telling you all about the power of that Miraidon? That Miraidon literally won us all our games. Isn't that crazy? That single Psychic Energy that wasn't in the original versions of this list and now is in this list wins games. Absolutely incredible. Today, I'm keeping all the games in. We went 3 for 3 on Charizard. This deck's worst matchup. Let that sink in. So what do you think of my Turbo Iron Hands deck list? This deck, I've finally come around to say it, is insane. This deck is really, really strong. And I didn't see the appeal before. Now I see the appeal. I was a hater when this deck came out, but now I see the appeal. And the whole reason I love this deck so much now is thanks to this little thing called a Psychic Energy. Being able to use Miraidon's Sparking Strike attack is really strong. Like I said, you're gonna be doing 200, 220 damage on a single prize Pokemon. And if they don't deal with it, then they just get hit over and over and over. And there's nothing that they can do about it until they deal with this Miraidon that's KOing their 2 prizers. You know, today we went 3 for 3 on Charizard. We just destroyed all of them. And yeah, that's when I kind of realized you got to play into this deck's playing from behind angle. You really need to lean into those counter catchers as, you know, people were in EUIC. Prime Catcher super strong, boss good on the occasion that you need to be aggressive unconditionally. The Crisis Punch is really clutch, opening up a lot of lines, specifically against Charizard. And other decks that you need to hit high numbers like Arceus, excuse me, so you can actually come back and beat those really high HP Pokemon, just beat them down, right to a pulp, right? The deck is, I think, perfect, almost. I don't think I would actually change anything. This is probably the optimal way to play Turbo Iron Hands right now. A couple of suggestions I could make. One, sometimes you feel like you're not hitting your supporters. Pokegear could really help with that. We see Pokegear help with Lost Zone Giratina, but the difference with that deck is Lost Zone Tina has the big potential of Comfey to actually thin out all the bad cards. That way Pokegear can hit your supporters. In this case, it's kind of better to just run more supporters because you hit them more, you have better access to them. Like, why would I want to play Pokegear when I can just have 3 Iono in my deck and Iono 3 times instead of having like 2 Iono and 1 Pokegear where you Iono twice and then you can Pokegear, but whoops, I don't have any more Ionos in the deck. So that is kind of where the issue will come to exist here. For Arven is super, super strong, especially in the early and late game. Mid game, not as much, but in the early and late game, Arven's really good at setting up checkmates. Heavy Baton is, again, what holds this deck together, and I'm just honestly, I am just so happy with this list. This list, I encourage you to try it out. Open this in PTCG Live, craft the cards you don't have, and please try it out. It might be your new favorite deck of all time. With all that said and done, thank you so much for watching. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and comment down below. What do you think of this video? What do you think of this deck? What do you like? What do you keep? What do you dislike? What would you keep? What would you change? All about it. And subscribe to the Hitmonchanting channel. I'm posting multiple Pokemon trading card game videos every single week on the channel. And with all that said and done, once again, thank you so much for watching. Until next time, Hitmonchanting out.